Do your briskets suck, or are they just barely edible because you haven't quite figured it out yet? If you struggle to have a juicy brisket with a beautiful, nice bark, then this is the video for you. I'm gonna be going over everything, how to cook an easy and perfect brisket on your pellet grill. I'm Darren with Kickin BBQ. If this is your first time to the channel, then welcome. If you've been here before, then welcome back. Look, this is gonna be a very easy cook. Anyone can do it. You're just gonna let this brisket go overnight, and the end result is gonna be perfect every single time as long as you follow these steps. So let's go back to last night where I prepped up this brisket. I'm gonna slice into this. You'll have to go to the end and see what that looks like, but watch the whole video first. We'll see you later. All right, so like I said, this recipe is going to be very, very easy, and it's gonna yield wonderful results. As you can see, I already have my brisket all trimmed up and ready to go here. And the reason I didn't trim it on camera is, number one, it adds a lot of time to the video. And number two, I have dedicated brisket trim videos on this channel. So if you're interested in how I do that, feel free to go and check them out. So how we're gonna be cooking this brisket is overnight, low and slow on the pellet grill. And then I'll show you what we're gonna do tomorrow morning to get it perfectly tender and have it be nice and juicy. So the first thing we have to do is get this brisket seasoned up. Now I am gonna be cooking fat cap up overnight on the cooker. Very odd for me to do on a pellet grill, but I'm gonna show you a way I like to do it that helps preserve the bottom of this brisket, because as you know, there's no fat cap here to protect it. So I'm gonna show you a way that I like to do it on the pellet grill if I'm gonna cook fat cap up. The first thing we're gonna do is season the bottom of this brisket. Now this rub that we're going on with first here, real simple. It is 3/4 of a cup of coarse black pepper, a 1/4 of a cup of Diamond Crystal kosher salt, a tablespoon of Lowry's, and a tablespoon of granulated garlic. I love this combination as a brisket rub. It is just absolutely fantastic, but it's not limited to briskets. You can use it on pretty much anything and it's delicious. So I'm just gonna get a nice even coating on the bottom of this brisket. This is not gonna be our presentation side, so I'm not gonna be overly concerned about making sure it's perfect, but I definitely wanna have a nice coating on here because we want some flavor in there. So I'm just gonna get this all seasoned up. And oddly enough, I have had this brisket wet aging in my garage freezer for probably close to 45 days now, which I only recommend doing if you know the date of which your animal is processed. Don't go by the date on the package. If you go to Costco or Sam's, ask them the processing date on there. And you can generally go about 45 days out there. And then I'm gonna go with a light layer of the Tailgater's Barbecue Party Rub. It just does something special to beef, and it feels sacrilege cooking a brisket without it. So I'm just going with a very light dusting. I love this. It's super beefy. It has Worcestershire powder in it, all sorts of good stuff. So we're just gonna get that pressed in. Now this top side is where we're gonna really focus on nice even coverage here. And you can see I scalped it a little bit here. It's on the point, whatever, I'm not too worried about it. Not my best trim job, I will say, but it was kind of a goofy brisket, but you know what? I'm eating it, so I'm happy with how it turned out. Don't stress over having a perfect trim for your backyard. You'll drive yourself crazy. So I'm gonna get a nice layer of seasoning on the top of this brisket. Let me go ahead and get my sides. All right, now that we have the top of the brisket, our sides all seasoned up, I'm coming in with, again, a coat of the Tailgater's Barbecue Party Rub, just like so. I'm telling you right now, this is the shining piece to this brisket. It is so good. This rub helps build an amazing bark. We're gonna have a beautiful bark on there, but the flavor is gonna punch you right in the mouth from the Tailgater's Barbecue Party Rub. All right, and because I'm gonna be cooking overnight on the pellet grill, specifically the Z-Grill 700D3, which is a fantastic cooker, and it does not have Wi-Fi, which really doesn't bother me, I'm gonna be using the Tyfer Sync Gold Dual. Dual meaning I have 2 probes here, and that's gonna measure not only the ambient temperature, but the internal temperature of this brisket for me. Now, I care a little bit more about the ambient temperature in the event that I have a pellet dump or a grease fire, which I would never have because the cooker's clean, and I've never had an issue issue with the Z grills, but I like to be prepared just in case so I can fix the problem and not ruin a $100 piece of brisket here. I do care about the internal temperature a little bit because I like to wrap my briskets around that 170 to 180 degrees. More specifically when I have the bark that I'm looking for, but typically depending on the cooker, that is the temperature range that I like. So I would recommend monitoring it and seeing what the internal temperature is when you wrap your briskets, and do that a few times. And just at that point, you're gonna know that, hey, this is how my cooker performs, this is how the airflow is, this is where I have the color I want. But specifically, I just really want to be able to measure the ambient temperature and know if I have an issue with my cooker. Plus, it's a heck of a lot easier to roll over and look at my phone at an app and see that everything is good without going out to the cooker at 2:30 in the morning and all that. So I'm going to put one in the thickest part of the flat, and I'm going to put one in the point. I don't really care about the point temperature. I just thought it'd be interesting to see on the graph how the two cook comparatively. So I'm more concerned about the temperature in the thickest part of the flat. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to put number 2 in the point, just like so. And then I'm going to put number 1 in the thickest part of the flat, just like so. And there I'll be able to get a good ambient reading and an internal reading, and I'll know just if I wake up in the middle of the night, I can roll over, check my phone, and see where we're at. So I'm going to set an alert for 175 degrees. So I'm gonna show you what the graph and everything looks like in the morning, but right now, let's get the Typher turned on. And you can see right there it has the temperature. We're sitting at 44 degrees in the flat and 42 degrees in the point, which makes a lot of sense because the flat's thinner. It's gonna get warmer quicker than the point. So this base is gonna sit out by the cooker. This brisket's gonna go on. Let's go out there and get this brisket on right now. All right, guys, so you can see we have the Typher ready to go there. And then over here we have the brisket on a wire rack. And then underneath is a full pan of warm water. That is strictly a heat barrier for this brisket to not just absolutely pulverize the bottom of the flat from the fire pot in there. It's a great trick to cook fat cap up on your pellet grill. So I'm gonna get this thing shut down. It's about 10 o'clock at night, and I'm gonna set an alarm for 5 a.m., check the temperature, and I'll bring you guys back when it's time to wrap and show you how it's looking. But yeah, easy cook here, guys. We'll see you in the morning. All right, guys, it is the next morning, and you can see we are sitting at 153.3 degrees internal, and I did bump the cooker up to 250 degrees a little bit ago. You can see where that spike is right there, and you can just see the steady climb. It's been on for 11 hours and 37 minutes, and a little bit slower of a cook on this one than I was anticipating. I thought we'd be wrapping by now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bump this up to 275 degrees, and then once the bark's where I want it, that's where I'm going to get it wrapped up. It's looking pretty close right now. I probably could wrap it right now, but it's just not quite there yet. I'm going to show you what it looks like. And you can see beautiful looking brisket right there. We have some nice bark formation. We're starting to get some evaporative cooling up here, a little bit of pooling right there, but that'll be okay. Everything is looking fantastic. The Typher did what it was supposed to do here. No issues with the cook all night long. Still have plenty of pellets. So both the Z-Grill 700 D3, the Typher ran flawlessly. So I'm gonna get this closed down, bump it up to 275, let it go a little bit longer just until that bark is right where I want it, and then we'll get it wrapped up. I'll bring you back at that time and let you know how long it's been. We'll see you then. All right, so it has been a few more hours, and we're currently sitting at about 165 degrees. I'm just gonna come in and check it, and yeah, we're sitting at 165 on the nuts, and I want to say that we kind of broke through this stall. It kind of stalled out at that 150 degrees. It just took a while to get out of there. So I'm going to get this inside and we will get it wrapped up, but it is looking absolutely beautiful. We will see you in the house. All right, so here is our brisket. Before we wrap it up, I just want to clarify a few things. I put this on at around 9, 10 o'clock last night. I think it was closer to 10 o'clock. Now, if I'd have woken up at 5 o'clock and it was lower temperature and I had to get this done before like 1 o'clock or noon to rest it for dinner that night, I would have bumped up the smoker temperature, but because it's my day off today, I had plenty of time, I had some errands to run, I just let it roll. So on this overnight cook, letting it roll at 225 degrees. If you wake up and you know you have to have it done for dinner time and you want to have it done by noon to get a long rest in, bump up the smoker to 250, 275, even 300 to hurry up and get it broken through that stall. But this is looking really good. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and remove the Typher probes. And this thing did a wonderful job. It did exactly what it was supposed to do. Allowed me to get a good night's sleep. I could still monitor my cook. At this point, I'm cooking to tenderness, and there's no probe in the world that's gonna tell you when this brisket is tender. So I ran a bunch of errands today, just got back from lunch, and I was able to cook this beautiful looking brisket. So thank you, Typher, for another wonderful job. You may be wondering why this is going off. It's because I had some alerts set on here. If my cooker temp went over a certain temperature or under a certain temperature, it would alert me on the base and on my phone, which is great for if you're sleeping and all of a sudden like something happens. And I also had a high temp alert of 175 and a low temp alert just in case anything were to happen. So this worked exactly as it should. We still have half of the battery life on here after about 15 hours. So awesome little product. If you're interested, I will have a link down below along with a discount code. Feel free to check them out. But let's get this brisket wrapped now. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pull out that probe. I'm gonna pull out this probe right here. So for this wrap, we are gonna be doing the foil boat wrap. It's just something I really like when I cook fat cap up. And if you're foil boating your briskets, you should be cooking them fat cap up. That's the point of it, to get this nice crispy bark and let everything else below it be protected. I've seen a few people wrap with fat cap down. It's not the purpose of the foil boat. So to do the foil boat, you're just gonna take the foil, and it's gonna be a little loud here, so I'm not gonna talk while I'm doing it, but you're gonna take it and you're just gonna roll it away from you. See that? I'm just rolling it away. And right there is your foil boat. Now I'm gonna let this ride up a little bit higher on the edge here so it doesn't get too crispy, just to kind of protect that. And then along the sides and the base of this flat right here. So this is going to protect the bottom of the brisket. It's going to allow the juices to remain in the foil, and it's also going to allow this bark to continue to crisp up on there, so you're going to have that really nice crispy bark that people really enjoy. Plus, you get a little bit of handles right there to carry it out to the smoker. It's not hot. It's beautiful. This brisket is looking great. So I'm gonna get it back out onto the Z-Grill 700 D3. I'm gonna bump it up to 300 degrees. I'm looking for probe tenderness on this. Generally, for me, it's around 210 degrees. I know a lot of people are blown away because they hear 203 degrees and that's what they think, but typically 210 is where I start checking for tenderness. And it might be a little bit lower today because we had such a long cook at a lower temperature. So think about it this way. Lower the smoking temperature, the lower the finish temperature is going to be. Higher the smoking temperature, the higher the internal finish temperature is going to be. But because we're bumping it up to 300, I think we're in a pretty safe space with that 210 degrees on there. I'm not too worried about it. This is going to be delicious. It's going to be beautiful. I'm going to get this onto the smoker. I'll bring you back and let you know how long it's been when this thing is tender. We'll let it rest for a few hours, slice into it, and see how we did. See you guys when this thing is done. All right, so it has been another 2 hours, and you can see the bark on this brisket is looking incredible, and more importantly, it is probing like absolute butter. This is what I'm talking about right here, guys. This is north of 205. Some spots are that 210. You can see right there, 208, 209, 210. I mean, this brisket, 210 right there. It's tender as can be. It's barked up. It's looking really, really good. Now at this point, I'm gonna get it in and I'm just gonna let it rest like this, uncovered, until it hits 140 degrees. That's when I'm gonna slice into it. So it's gonna be a few hours, which I'm perfectly fine with. As important as the cook is, rest your briskets. Do not slice into them while they're still 160 degrees, 170 degrees. If you can, rest them down to 140. So I'm gonna get this off, get it inside and let it rest, and the next time you see this, we'll be slicing into it and doing the taste test. All right, so it has been a few hours. We have let our brisket rest down to 140 degrees. You can see right there. And this thing smells wonderful. It looks great. We have a beautiful bark on there. So we're gonna get this out of the foil. We're gonna slice into it and see how we did. It feels extremely tender. Get that set right there. Then, of course, we're gonna do a little tallow pour because why not? Get that brisket looking all nice and shiny. You can see it just jiggling away. That bark is nice and crispy. I mean, come on. That looks amazing right there. Beautiful looking brisket. Let's slice into it and see how we did. To slice into this, we're gonna be using the serrated blade here because we wanna try and preserve that crispy bark. So let's just go right through. Slices like absolute butter. And I mean, yeah, that is a nice looking brisket right there. Nice and juicy. That fat seam is nice and rendered in there. We have a great smoke ring. Everything is looking really good. I'm gonna get this set up so it doesn't oxidize. I'm gonna try to get it set up. I'm just gonna set that off to the side, I guess, because it will not stay up. We'll slice off a slice of the lean, just like so. And check that out. A little tallow on the board makes it look nice. I mean, that is a beautifully tender brisket right there. Absolutely clapping. Get a nice pull apart just like so. Pulls apart with ease. I mean, absolutely perfect cook on that brisket. And that's the thing is, you know, people want to take them to almost done and then, you know, put them in the warmer and let them finish off. For me, I like to cook the brisket to tenderness so I know it's tender and then let it rest down and then rest it. But I mean, even the lean, it's nice and juicy. We got a lot of juices running down there. It looks fantastic. Again, check out that fatty. Looks really good. Take a couple slices from that right here. We're not quite where I want to be before I start slicing the other way. Cut that one a little thicker. That's a big meatloaf slice right there. But again, still just nice and tender. Beautiful. That fat's rendered nicely right there. We got that nice pillowy yellow fat. That's everything that I want in a brisket. Looks amazing. What we're gonna do is we're gonna jump out and do the taste test because I'm gonna save this part of the brisket and this part of the brisket for some other recipes. And I want to keep them whole like that. So it's looking really good though. Very happy with this cook. Took a little longer than I anticipated, but hey, that's barbecue. Nice little morsel there. Let's try this out. All right, so it is a moment of truth. We're gonna try a piece of this lean right here. I really like the lean. The fatty's good, but I like the lean. Let's give it a try. It's tender, it just melts in your mouth. Again, keep in mind, I had this brisket dry aging in my fridge for about 41 days. Follow the guidelines for that, but I mean, it is wonderful. Tender, a lot of beefy flavor to it. The Tailgater's Barbecue Party Rub and then that other rub on there just make it for a really good bark. It's salty, it's delicious, it's rendered perfectly. It is so good. Got a little piece of the barky corner here. Throw that in some tallow. Let's go. So yeah, I'd say overall, super easy cook. Throw it on, go to bed. I used the Tifer to monitor the cook overnight to make sure there was no issues. Then I woke up and I just kind of let it go low and slow all day long. I bumped it up a little bit, some errands to run and everything else. So if you needed to get this done, like I said, you could bump it up when you get up in the morning. And then once your bark's where you want it, get it boated and finish it off at 300 degrees. Kind of the best of both worlds. You get a lot of smoke flavor on the pellet grill from the low and slow overnight. And then you get a good fat render from the high temps. Just let it rest. It's very important. You could see when I sliced into it, there was no steam coming off of there. It was perfectly rested. Ideally, I'd like to let it go overnight if I could, but I don't have that luxury, and it still turned out fantastic. So the rest is very important. Make sure you do the rest. But yeah, everything went good. Z-Grills performed flawlessly. Tifer performed flawlessly. The brisket was good. It was a really easy cook. It was a long cook, but it was pretty hands-off. Just checked on it here and there. And like I said, I like to cook my briskets to tenderness to begin with and then rest them. I don't want to count on the rest making them tender. For me, I know what the result is going to be with my end product, and that's how I like to go with it. So give this method a try. If you do, come back and leave me a comment and let me know how it worked out for you. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like, subscribe, ring that bell, stay safe, and we will see you next time.